Hi, everyone. Ann Louise here, your First Lady of Nutrition for the First Lady of Nutrition Broadcasting. And I have with me the First Lady of Living Color. She's none other than Jennifer Butler, who's my color guru. And she is a well-respected expert on the sociology of style and color. Welcome, Jennifer Butler, to the First Lady of Nutrition podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. I love our titles, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. And, you know, we've known each other probably 30 years.
I think it's been over 30 years, but who's here? Well, here's the thing, Jennifer. Why is color, why do you think color in this day and age, in this time that we're all living through, why do you think color and personal style and expressing yourself is more important now than ever?
You know, I think one of the things was talking to people recently, and I realized, you know, if we had a blank slate of paper with just a human figure on it, and I had 4,000 colors, which is what I have, and they were in crayons. And I said, okay, Ann Louise, I want you to pick which crayon is your skin tone. So you colored the figure in. And then I said, okay, now pick your eye color, and you pick that, and then your hair color. So what's really important for us to realize as a human being is that we don't get created on the planet without our pigment, and our pigment is our coloring. So it's you know, a lot of people say, well, does this look good on me? The question is this color is this color an expression of me, right? Because we're created by color, and we're created by this vibrant energy. That's why you and I are so aligned with nutrition and health and vitality. You do it with you know, food and all the herbs and everything that you work with, and I do it with color, realizing that color represents your life force, right? So if you can imagine the planet all black and white, right, with no flowers, no flowering of the universe, no greenery, it would feel like a fairly dull place. So we've been given this gift when we're born, and the gift is our own coloring, and our job is to keep choosing it, right? If I'm attracted to the opposite of who I am, how can I choose my own coloring? That's why we get disappointed as a woman, where we look at our closet and we say, I have nothing to wear, because our own coloring is not in the closet. We're wearing an interpretation of ourselves.
So interesting. You know, many, many years ago when you and I first met in Los Angeles, and I had my colors done by the guru, Suzanne Cahill, and you're certainly our guru right now in this day and time. I so misrepresented myself, and so many of my listeners are probably doing the same thing. How do you know to define your personal color code?
Well, we start with the hair, skin, and eyes, right? So your hair color, if I were to paint your colors, and your hair, skin, and eyes are all painted together. They're all related to each other. So that is what we call the sacred triad. That's what brings us into formation, right, as a human being. So you can look in the mirror and say, okay, I have, you know, copper colored hair. For me, I have silver hair. If you have brown hair, the hair color is the foundation of your life. So it's a very important color to wear as jewelry, to use in the wood tone of your home, or the color of stone, right? And then the eye color is the mirror of the soul, right? This is what we've been given in our creation as a gift. And the eye color is really important because it's balancing in nature. It balances me as myself, and it balances me being with you. And then we have the skin tone, which is self-love and affinity and fellowship. So those are three basic ways of being alive on the planet, right? Having a foundation, living from our soul, and living with this sense of self-love and fellowship.
So how do people know when they're translating themselves accurately? I know that that's a service that you provide, and it's based on the 4 seasons. Have you evolved that concept beyond just the 4 seasons, the summer, fall, winter, spring of years ago?
Well, I do want to, you know, I feel like I'm not going to argue with Mother Nature, right? And she gave us if you look at the seasons as a soul experience, then if you're a spring, which you are, you emanate your inner light, your life force, the being of who you are from sunlight, right? If you're a summer and you're the divine feminine, you emanate from the twilight. The autumn is firelight and the winter is moonlight. So that's the core experience. That's my archetype that brings me into humanity. Then I say, okay, there's only one Jennifer Abby Butler. So I've got to have my specific pigment that creates me into physical form. So that's why the colors are so meaningful, because they're reconnecting me with the bigger universe and Mother Nature, and yet I get to be my individual expression as well.
So do you find that most people are in tune with their own colors, their expression, and their style? And is style more important than color, or color more important than style?
Well, I think that they are partners, right? If we look at the physical form, and you and I recognize there's a sacred geometry in the universe, you know, we weren't left out of that. We're part of that sacred geometry. So if you're looking at the shape of your face and the shape of your facial features and the size of your face in relation to your height, that's your geometry. So that helps you dress in a mirroring of your own self. So they're partners, right? They dance together. Mm-hmm.
So what would you say? I mean, you have worked with artists, Fortune 500 executives, spiritual leaders, celebrities. What has been the most transformational? And you don't have to certainly name names, you know, in this regard, but what has been so transformational for them when they have come to you and you've given them their personal color code?
You know, I think it's like it's around almost a turnaround. It's sort of a vision quest, right? Because I'm turning you in your own direction. And most of us, after we get dressed and go into our day, you know, we're dealing with everybody around us. So this is coming home to yourself. So I would say anybody who wants to live an authentic life, if they're attracted to that, if those words resonate with them, then the color and design become meaningful. I'm working with a tremendous number of people now who are on Zoom, and they're creating their website, and they're becoming, you know, entrepreneurs for the whole world, right? Because we have that connection now. So they're saying, I want to be who I am, right? I want to represent myself in a forthright, honest, integrous way. And so they're aware that I worked with a woman yesterday from Canada. And so she sent me her pictures, and I said, well, show me some of your clothes. And she was dressed like the opposite of who she is. And I said, okay, I'm going to have you hold up these two things. You know, one worked and one didn't. And I said, so which of these, when you look at it and you hold it up to your face, which one has you look more alive? And then she could tell right away, oh, it's this one. And I said, which one do you like better? She said, oh, the other one, right? So there's this mental shift that needs to occur really for the transformation to occur, that you're willing to let go, you're willing to surrender your idea about who you think you are, and that we can co-create the colors together. So now she's very excited because she realizes in her family structure, she was the one that was hiding out. So if you're the one in your family that had to hide out to get along with everybody, then of course you're going to find the colors that have you hide out, right? So all of a sudden now she's really thinking, well, there's a psychology to this. I see now my journey is to be willing to be seen, to really, you know, be accepted for who I am, and to be out in the world. Now, because she's talking about health and exercise, I mean, that's kind of important for her to look healthy herself, right? So she has an inner drive to really be who she is. And I think that's kind of fundamental to do the work with me, because I'm partnered with you. But if you're just a no to everything about yourself, then it's hard to create something together. Right. So if you don't like the color of your hair, if you don't like your skin tone, if you don't like your eyes, then I wouldn't be the person to work with, right? Because I'm going to mirror that back to you, knowing I only know two things about you. You're whole and complete, and you're a work of art. That's it. That's all I know. And so anything else is usually a story that we've made up. And sometimes it's positive and empowering, and oftentimes it's negative. It's particularly, I think, in the physical realm. We're kind of taught to be in a way more derogatory with ourselves, right? We oftentimes don't give ourselves a fair chance.
So how did you come about this whole living color movement? True beauty movement is what I think you've coined, which is a term that I personally love. Tell my listeners a little bit about your background. You've got an extraordinary background, most of which I'm not even intimately aware of.
Right. Well, I was trained in Bloomingdale's, and one night, it was about 8 o'clock at night, and the store was really quiet, and someone, she could tell I was a salesperson, and she walked up and she said, I'd like to talk to someone who can help me with my personal style. And I thought, oh, I've spent 10 years in the fashion industry, but I don't have that answer. And so that became my inquiry. And then I was asked to dress someone there was a huge meeting for the Hunger Project. And the Hunger Project is about ending world hunger. And the woman who was the head of the whole symposium, she asked me to dress her. And I had contacts in 7th Avenue. And we finished the day, and all we could find was a pink suit. I thought, oh my God, she's going to lead in this pink suit. I said, well, listen, we have to trust it. And her pink was her color of fellowship and relatedness and intimacy. And she said it shifted the whole dynamic of the meeting, because all these hunger organizations had never really spoken to each other. And so there was this whole set of alliances that occurred. And she said, I know it was my suit, because she said it brought a tonality, and it created a context of a win-win, that there wasn't a right and wrong. When you wear your skin tone, there's a softness to you that creates other people stepping forward and creating a sense of fellowship.
So interesting. It's a,
Right?
it's a
It's one
sign
of the
of,
most important colors for the world to know about right now.
oh, exceedingly so. So it's a symbol of visual communication. And it may
Right.
seem very trite to many people, very superficial, but it has very, very deep significance.
Yes.
And I'm always so impressed by that. If people were to tell you that they're a spring, a summer, a fall, or a winter, which I think plays into the true beauty movement, how would
Yeah.
you define each of those seasons? What would be the keynotes of a spring versus a summer versus a fall, or an autumn versus a winter?
Enter. Well, first of all, people can do a free quiz. So after this, I encourage your listeners to go to jenniferbutlercolor.com, and they can do the free quiz, and it will talk about. But the highlights are the spring, which you is all about the giver of joy, of new life, of renewal. Tomorrow's a new day. The spring is the reflowering of the universe. And so you're teaching us about that. In a lifelong journey, but also moment to moment. Tomorrow is a new day. This too will pass. So you're the carrier of that within you. Then we move to the summer, which is the divine feminine. So they are teaching us that, folks, life is living in a state of grace, right? There is hope. There is a process to living that once we kind of slow down and really think about ourselves and think about our gentleness and think about our femininity or our masculinity, that there's a divinity to the life process if we just stop and think and listen and focus on our healing. So that's the summer. Then we move to the autumn, which is all about fire and abundance, right? We have to have fire in the belly to harvest those crops, right? To get things in for the winter time. So the autumns are filled with generosity and abundance and this sense of completion and harvest and really the grandeur of the universe, and that the warm, burnished tones that we think of in autumn. And then the winter, which I am, on my watch, I'm the moon energy. So I love thinking about who are we as a humanity? And we're entering a new year, which we just did. So what are our values? What are our core values? What's really important? How do we want to master our life? We were going to live a life of mastery. What would that look like for each of us? So it follows, and that's why the 4 seasons are important. It follows the life process of humanity. And all of the seasons live in all of the races, right? So you could be Asian or Black or from all over the world, but you belong to one of those 4 seasons. And that's what brings humanity together. That's the uniting force, is Mother Nature.
So if you were to give us examples of well-known figures, athletic figures, movie stars, politicians that were an expression of the spring energy and the autumn energy and the winter and the summer, what would those, I would guess that their poster children be?
Yeah, I think for Tyra Banks would be one. I would say Reese Witherspoon.
You're talking about spring?
Jennifer Aniston. Those are all spring women. I'm trying to think. Matthew McConaughey, right, would be a spring man. The spring man has sort of a rascal kind of energy, very playful. So I would say those are some that we can think about. For summer, Ralph Fiennes is a good example. I'm trying to think of the English actor who is so famous, who played the king. Can't remember his name. But the summers are less, they're more like the poets, and because they understand the process. I'm not sure if there's many in acting. I'm trying to think of who else that I've seen. In the autumn, it would be someone like a Cindy Crawford is an autumn. The autumn man, I'm not sure if Denzel Washington is an autumn or not. I've been studying him for many years. The thing is, there's a real person and then they play all these characters,
Yes,
right?
especially if they're as talented as Denzel.
Yeah, and so the winter would be, George Clooney and his wife Amal. Former President Obama would be a winter. His wife would be a vital spring. I'm not sure about Joe Biden and his wife yet, either spring or summer. Sometimes I have to study people. What wasn't it the inauguration fun, right? Seeing what everybody was wearing. So that was Kamala Harris was wearing her power color, the purple, right? And Hillary Clinton was in her romantic color. So it's one of the things about the colors, you can dress your intention. So if your intention is to be related, that's your skin tone. If your skin tone, if you want to be powerful, that's your power color. And the power color is, when we do the palette, we use the harmonies exist in Mother Nature. So I'm going to get technical. Like if you were an artist, you were studying the color wheel, there's what we call the Triadic Harmonies. So one would be red, yellow, and blue. That's what my palette is created. Another is orange, green, and violet. Then let's have what we call split complements, and there's analogous harmonies. So depending on your coloring, right, the colors are balanced from your coloring. It'd be like sometimes people say, well, my eyes look green, but they can look blue as well. So then we might give your eye a pine needle green, and then you wear a cornflower blue. So, everybody's an individual. And I think my life lesson is not to assume what anybody is, right? It's always a new moment. We're always in creation together. So I've done over, I guess, 7,000 people in 40 years.
Oh my
So
God.
definitely a lifetime of study, right?
A lifetime of study and evolution, and constantly bringing new insights to this wonderful science, because it's a science, don't you say? Wouldn't you say
I
it's
would
an
say
art and a
that,
science?
yeah, the applied science is your pigment, right, that puts you in physical form. And I'd say the intuition is, we're not our temperament and we're not our personality. We are a soul being, right? We're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Mm.
So if I look at that, then the personality can sometimes be misleading. I have to go more for the inner being. So I'm not looking at how you're acting. I'm looking beyond that to who you really are. Because in this culture, I think we're really taught, we have this whole packaging and this whole, essence thing versus I work with the essence as a verse to the image. That's why we formed the True Beauty movement, because there was so much about image and crafting your identity to be something else. And I said, I want to offer an alternative that has worked for thousands of people. And that's the essence piece. And that's the essence is what lives in the 4 seasons. And then we do the individual colors. So I have over 4,000 colors that I draw from.
Mm.
Right.
So there's another piece to this, which I always found very fascinating, and that is the sacred geometry of the body, with some people that have rectangle-shaped faces, some people have
Yes.
long oval shape. How important is that in translating yourself into the proper style?
Well, it's style, but it's also everything. Like I'm decorating my kitchen right now. So I'm using my face to design the tiles in the kitchen.
Mm.
Right? So that's one thing. I have a square jawline. I have a square coffee table. I have square trays. I have square plates. If I could have square glasses, I would, right? So that's one of my basic shapes. But basically, like say you have a rectangle face, and that determines a rectangle neckline, right? Or the length of your face Like say you're going to buy a V-neck sweater or a V-neck t-shirt. So if my face is 9 inches long, then my V-neck is going to be 9 inches long deep as well.
So you mirror that in your dress.
Yeah, and then you can take a selfie and do drawings, and what is the shape of your eyebrows? Are they a wedge or a triangle or an arc shape? The eyes could be like an almond, teardrop, round. We have the triangle nose, teardrop, round nose as well, and the lips can be straight or triangle, or the pout, right? So it's fun it's like our own self-study program. Self-empowerment.
It is in so many ways because we're each a masterpiece.
Yes, for
But
sure.
what I learned from you, which made a huge difference in some of my videos and some of my photos that I've had to take over the years, is that with a long face, you should be wearing long necklaces. And
Yes.
and instead of looking braced and formidable and too academic. So I really bless you for that. Every time I dress, I think of matching my hair color with my jewelry, wearing particular sweaters and coats that match my hair color. And I get so many compliments, and people think I spend hours dressing. I don't. I shop in catalogs thanks to Jennifer Butler.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because the metallics that you wear, like your hair is still more copper, right? So if you have more copper in your hair, then you're going to do the copper jewelry. My hair is platinum silver, so I do the platinum jewelry. And then if your skin is more rose, you do the rose gold, right? If your skin is warm, you do more gold. I do a lot of eyes that are what we call hazel, but hazel for me is, is it antique brass? Is it brass? Is it olive? Is it a green gold? Is it a pine needle green, which is pewter? So it's fun. If you go to the daylight with a mirror and everybody says to me, oh, I didn't realize my eyes were so gold, or I didn't realize my eyes were so green. So if you take a hand mirror, right, and stand in front of a window and really analyze what is my coloring, and start holding up different things from the wardrobe and seeing how do they feel. So it becomes like this fun inquiry, and clothing becomes dress up, and it becomes an artistic endeavor and a healing art, because you're wearing clothing that now fully represents who you are. You're not competing with yourself in any way.
So your home decor and everything that surrounds you is an expression of who you are, is basically what you're saying.
Yes. People come in because my living room is in a combination of my eye color and my skin tone. So it's this beautiful sort of light amber gold. And everybody just feels so comfortable because it's my color, but it's very heartwarming. And for a winter, right, I'm the moonlight. I know
need
that
a little warmth.
right, I need a little warmth. So I know that. And so all my colors have variations of my eye color and my skin tone. Mm-hmm.
Can
Yeah.
people be a combination of two different seasons?
There are some people who type you that. When I had learned that originally, people would do percentages. Like they would say, oh, you're 80% striking, which means winter, and 20% rich, which means autumn. And when I studied with her, she said, it's really important. The human personality, the human psyche is very, very fragile. And we don't want to split the personality. So that's why we have, I'm a vivid winter. So that's the spring category. We have the early spring, the golden spring, the floral, the vital spring. I have a tawny spring, strawberry spring. Summer, we have iridescent, dusty rose, jewel tone, twilight and dusk. Beautiful names, right? So we give you that nomenclature because we're really building up, right? We're this building up the soul and the ego to feel like it's in love with its own self, right? So it can go out and contribute to the world. Because the more you love yourself, the less judgmental you are of yourself and others.
So very true. So if you think back to all the wonderful people that you've color coded with their personal color codes over the years, can you share with us any outstanding transformational stories?
I think I had a gentleman who had really reinvented himself, and he needed to go back to his family, and he wanted to, it had to do with the custody of the children. And so I dressed him, right, to go to court and to create in a way that would create a relationship with the family, and to create his new level of integrity. So that was a very important moment, right? Because there was a lot on the line for him. I've dressed people who they've called and they said, I really want to create a team spirit in my corporation, and I'm just not able to do that. And people feel like I'm really intense. And so what we did for this person, we gave them the array of colors, but I said, instead of wearing the power color, right, why don't you wear your support color? And that's the color you wear when you're a team player. Or why don't you wear your skin tone? Your skin tone is saying hello to people and having them feel safe for you. So he had huge changes. That was really important for him. And he's saying, he called me and he said, I got to give you credit. I never knew the color would do this. Never knew. I just thought, right? Never knew that it would make that kind of impact.
So if you were going to be delivering something, you were giving a speech or you were on a video or on Zoom or whatever, and really needed to make a strong impact, how would you define the color what would be the keys to determining which color you put on that day?
We have it's a 3-step process. So I would describe the situation. So it'd be a Zoom call. The audience is going to be, say, 150 people. And the message I'm conveying is how to empower women in the world. Okay, let's say that's what I'm going to do. So the word power, for me, refers to a power color and a supplemental power. And when we do the palette, everybody gets 2 of those. So for me, that color is turquoise or Ming blue. And so I would wear those. Now, if I wanted to soften them, right, I could wear them with a neutral. If I wanted to do another level of softness, I could wear them with my skin tone. So, but if I just had to be full on power, it would be a power color. And for me, what are your power colors?
Turquoise is one of them, and there's a certain green, I think you called it pine needle green, or emerald.
Yeah, emerald, probably for you. Yeah, so those would be the power colors. And, I'm wearing my power color right now, and I'm softening it with my skin tone. And so I feel like I'm very present with you, and I'm very straightforward, right? And I'm speaking my credibility. I'm speaking my experience in life, 40 years and many thousands of people later. But I feel like my energy is powerful, like I'm wearing the power, and so therefore I'm manifesting the power.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Even though we're audio and not visual, I'm wearing my very neutral colors. I'm wearing my navy and my gray because I want to be very neutral. I want to reflect you, and to me, that's the best way so that I don't lead you too much in the. So that's what I decided to wear today, just so that you know.
Yeah. I wanted to say something more about spiritual psychology and the true beauty movement. So one of the things that I would go through with people is I would create this amazing palette. And then, of course, they had to, live with it, right? And adapt to it. And I found that people really, became in a way their spiritual journey and their journey of self-love. And I thought if we could have like a movement, what would be the declaration of independence as a woman to really love ourselves? And that's why we started the True Beauty movement, being true to our own beauty. And I started spiritual psychology in 2010 at the University of Santa Monica. And I finished in 2012, and then I took about 4 years off and then have been involved in their programs ever since. So coaching, facilitating, and now I'm working with some coaches as well to create an online community. But I did that because I thought if we could look at ourselves as a spiritual being, which was one of their fundamental principles, and they wrote, Ron and Mary Holnick wrote a book called Loyalty to Your Soul. And so being loyal to my soul, right, is being loyal to my inner light. And so if I look at the basic parts of my day, I'm willing to be a walking celebration of my life. I'm willing to let go of my negativity and embrace that I'm a creation of the universe, right? I'm willing to contribute. I'm willing to feel with the way I dress is a contribution to others. So those are all things that are on the website, and you can read it, and then you say, okay, that's what I'm willing to live by. So what it does is give you a higher purpose. It's a greater story that you live into, instead of, because it's so easy to, particularly now, I've gained weight, and I'm now 73. I've never felt better.
Bless your
Right?
heart. Yes,
Yeah.
not far behind.
Yeah, I just want to be a testament. So to break the misunderstanding about growing older, it's growing wiser, and essentially I'm growing younger because I'm more in touch with spirit, and I know that spirit is eternal and universal. So if I can tap into that, and live from that place within, then things become fun and fascinating, and
New and fresh.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
So interesting that you say that, because I have a book coming out called Radical Longevity, and it's all about casting a new vision of aging and really challenging some of the stereotypes of growing old and debilitated and decrepit, and what we can do to reverse that or manage and control, using, of course, natural techniques as well as a spiritual overview. So I think we're so much on the same page. What
Yeah.
kinds of things can people look forward to if they visited your website? What do you offer for the people at large?
Well, we created a membership site, and the beginning level, where you join, and there's like 90 videos that you can watch. That's $29.99, and then you also can go on for free and take the quiz, and there's a wonderful video at the end of it. So you take a quiz at the end of it. It says, you're a spring, and it talks about the spring, and there's a beautiful slideshow with music. And then I do an event once a month. So remember, I used to have all these people in my living room, and so now it's online. So once a month, the first Saturday of the month, there's an hour-long event that I give. So this next month, we're going to talk about our reds, wearing our reds in our skin tone, because it's February 14th, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
about love. And so I have speakers on, and we show beautiful slides and get people inspired. And then people can join our 90-day program, which explains the sacred geometry, the 7 principles of design. We have special offers for doing that and doing the colors. But the event for first-timers is free. So they can just go on and join the Eventbrite event for free.
So you used to do color palettes to determine somebody's color code and style in person. Have you advanced that at all? Has that evolved into a Zoom conference and so
Yes.
forth?
Yeah, so people send in their pictures, a real good close-up of their eyes and their face, and a full body picture. And then I kind of guess, right, what they are. And then, of course, I do an interview with them. And then I do the palette, right, because I have all these pictures that I can do it from. Then I send it to them in the mail. I just emailed one to Australia, let's see, Germany, England. Tomorrow there's going to be a woman from Africa. And then we have another meeting. We go over the colors and what they mean, and people show me clothes. Oftentimes they want to check their eyeglasses, jewelry, earrings. So it's a whole sort of mini wardrobe color session. And then we go over the new palette and how to use it. Mm-hmm.
Have you written any books that my people can look at it on Amazon, by the way?
Well, the main one is Reinvent Your Style. And that covers the sacred geometry, because there's beautiful pictures of Mother Nature, and then there's pictures of how that applies to us. So what we're looking at, how much texture can you wear? How much design can you wear? What about proportion and scale? Do I wear smaller earrings? Do I wear larger earrings? How is that determined? So there's a lot of wonderful things in that book. Yeah.
And it's amazing. Once you become hooked on this particular living beauty with Jennifer's Living Colors, isn't that the name of your organization as well?
Yeah.
Jennifer's Living Colors, and I'm hooked on that. And of course, the True Beauty movement. You just can never go back. I could never wear black anymore, thanks to you.
Yeah, I mean, some people look great in black, and many people can't wear it. It takes a lot of energy to wear it, and so if it gets in your way and brings you down, then we pick a better color for you. But we pick 3 basics. So in my case, it's the silver of my hair, a bronze color for my eyes, and black. And what are yours? You have navy, gray in your hair color?
No gray, my dear. No gray, but
Okay.
there's copper. It's kind of like a pine needle green.
Okay.
And then there's kind of a salmon skin tone type.
Skin tone. Okay, so yeah, then we have the lights of the eyes. So if you have brown eyes like I do, the lights of them are amber. The lights of your eyes could be copper, they could be antique brass. That's why when you study your eyes in the window, you see a light coming through the eyes. So we do 3 neutrals. Okay, then the eye color, mirror of the soul, skin tone, which is affinity, your shade of red. So red could be, to me, it could be pink, orange, burgundy, crimson. Then we give you 3 accent colors, 2 which are power colors, a support color, options which are lighter values, your prints and your metals. So it's this whole composite. And then you use those as the way that you buy your choice of your car, decorating your home, your office, what you wear on your Zoom call, and what you wear in your wardrobe, all of your jewelry, everything that has physical shape and form and color is now redefined by you.
It's a reflection of you. See, I
Mhm.
love that. And just to let you know, my signature drink has always been the cranberry juice. It's also my red.
I know, right?
It's
I
beautiful
love
how all
that.
these things kind of align. So I want to thank you so much for visiting with me today. It's just very good to be in touch after, is it 30, 40 years? How long has it
Yes,
been?
exactly. Well, the 80s, I think so,
Back in
right?
the 80s when we used to have classes at my home and you'd come and do before and afters. We had so much fun back in the day.
Thank you.
So people can visit you again. Tell us exactly where to find you.
Yeah, it's jenniferbutlercolor.com. And really, I really encourage you to do the free quiz, explore the membership site. If you want to do a phone call with our Leslie and see if the work is for you, I can give you that number. It's 323-931-2626.
Repeat that for a moment.
Yeah, it's 323-931-2626. And she can do a call with you to see if the work is appropriate for you, right? You can find out and say, this isn't feeling right, or boy, this is my next step. We honor whatever that is.
I love it. I want to honor you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right.
And I want to thank all my listeners for joining me yet once again on a very enlightening podcast with my guest, Jennifer Butler. This is Ann Louise Gittleman, First Lady of Nutrition, thanking you for attending another First Lady of Nutrition podcast. Love to all of you. Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Louise here with just one more thing. Thank you so much for being a fan of my work. And if you like this video, please check out all my other videos. Please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications.